Well, hello everyone. Today we're going to be working on an Ariens 924 DLE. So I've got a glove on the gas cap there. What I'm going to do is going to tilt this up into the service position. Hopefully that glove will hold that oil, or I'm sorry, the gas leaking. Alright, so we have our friction plate and our drive wheel, and that looks okay. There's no grease in here at all. I'm going to put grease along in here. The chain, which on my Ariens 824 is on this side, I believe. We're going to grease this with some chain bar oil. We have the sliding hex axle shaft there. That has some grease on it. You can see that. The brake down here, the spring looks like it's in good shape. We'll check the bearings just to make sure that they're good. And these bushings seem to be okay, but we do have some rust here, so we want to take care of that. I'm going to take these wheels off and get everything good and greased in there. Basically what I found was that the valve stems on both tires were rotten. One had a giant hole in it. I thought, well, simple enough, I'll just take the clips off either side and I'll just take the tires off. That didn't happen. No matter how much heat, I used a puller, a gear puller, couldn't get those wheels off. So the wheels actually fit. The wheels actually fit into a sleeve, and then the shaft is in that sleeve. This is the shaft. I would highly recommend anybody that buys one of these newer Ariens, when you first get it, take those wheels off and lubricate those with some Never Seas or bearing lubricant. Once you get snow and salt in there, you'll never get them off. So we've got everything here all lubricated with high temperature grease. Everything has been inspected. Still enough, plenty of life on that wheel in there. We're going to button this up, and next we're going to change the oil. So what we're going to do is we're going to warm this up. I'm going to change the oil. Before I do that though, I'm going to take off this box and I'm going to get to that carburetor and do some cleaning on that. I'll show you what we have here. Okay. Alright, so what we're looking at here is a non-adjustable carburetor. There's a jet under here, and if you can see, maybe you can or can't, there's a little cap right here, and that's going to reveal a screw, and we're going to need a different screwdriver. So let me go. Alright, I'm going to use a 1/2-inch wrench, and there's a nut on the bottom. So we're going to remove this and let the gas drain out. And it doesn't smell very good. Okay, so this is just a little jet, and then there's a couple holes in this, which you're not going to probably be able to pick up, but there's a hole right there at the bottom. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this jet out, and it's not in there tight. You don't crank on it. Just a brass jet. I don't know if you can see that. It looks like syrup. There's little stringy, gooey things. Gasoline shouldn't be gooey. Let's see what it looks like in here. And there is a little bit of sediment in there. And some black piece of something floating in there. There is a minute, tiny little hole right there. That a fine wire is going to have to go through. Sorry for my gloves being in the way, but there's that hole I was referencing. Now, I can see through that pretty well. So no issues there, but I'll still clean it. What I was talking about was that little hole right there. So I took this wire and I cut it off of my welding brush. And I'm just gonna, and I can feel it's really rough in there. It's really rough. So I'm gonna get that in there and I'm gonna clean that. I'm gonna stick that right down that hole there. Make sure that's good and clean. And now let me show you the other one while I have you set up. Sorry for the blurriness. This part, and I was getting stickiness coming off of that. I'm gonna stick this, if I can do it. I'm doing it on the video camera here. Let's take a look at that. Now I'm in, but this is really gooey and ugh. It's sticky. It's definitely sticky. So let me go through here and I'm gonna clean this all up, make sure I get all the gunk off, and then I'll get back to you. Alright, I've got my ethanol-free gas here. So we'll get that in here. Oh. And we'll turn the fuel on. New gas run through there and see if that doesn't help things. So we drain the oil and we put in 5W30, which is what these engines call for winter use. Might be hard to see, but there's some creamy colored stuff, and that's water. So there's water, which I usually find in these Tecumseh engines, a little bit of moisture, and that comes usually from changing or checking the oil in the wintertime. I try not to do that. I really, unless I think there's a problem, I try not to get anywhere into the engine and open that engine oil in the wintertime, because it'll suck in moisture and then you wind up getting water in there, which is another reason I like to use full synthetic oil in these engines for the winter. That there's no choke. It's already warm. So I had to wait till that old gas got through the gas line and the new fuel started coming in, and now when I raise it to full throttle, it should respond without coughing and sputtering like it was. So when I initially put the gas in, obviously there's still a lot of old gas in the gas line, and it runs a good 14 inches or so, so I had to burn through that. And then once that old fuel got out of that line, I had raised the throttle, it was coughing and white smoke was coming out, and that was just all the old gas. But now that I got this good gas with no ethanol in it, it's starting good, it's idling properly, the carburetor's clean. It's got new oil in it, so it's ready to go. Tires hold air. We got new valve stems on either side, and it's all lubed up and greased up, ready to go. Hey, I want to thank everybody for watching this video. Really appreciate it. And we'll check you guys out in the next one. Hopefully you learned something here. We'll check you guys out in the next video.